I have a new series that I'm going to start, and I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like, but it's going to be called Coffee with Crystal. And I have my coffee, and I just want to be able to use this time to share things that are on my heart or on my mind. I don't know how frequently I'll be doing it, but whatever kind of topics pop up, that's kind of where I want to go with it. So I hope you grab your cup of coffee or tea or whatever your favorite hot drink is and just sit and spend a little time with me. Today I am going to talk about the empty nest. I know it's a topic that I read bits and pieces out there on the internet or whatnot, and I just have a hard time really finding a lot of information on it. So I just wanted to kind of give you, I've been in empty nest now for almost 2 years, and I just wanted to give you a little perspective of some of the things that I've gone through and where I'm at today, and just share that with you. Maybe you still have kids at home and you know it's coming and you are thinking about that, or maybe you are an empty nest already. Maybe you've been an empty nest for a long time. And if you're a person that's been an empty nester for, if you're a person that's been an empty nester for a long time, I'd love to hear from you, because there's wisdom in listening to what somebody else has gone through, and I'll talk more about that at the end of this video. But for right now, I just want to talk about what seems to be a challenging time for a lot of people. I remember having a friend tell me that, it's regardless of how prepared you are or how much you're looking forward to being in an empty nest, or maybe you're not, but no matter what, when it happens, it's a shock, or it's different than what you thought it was going to be. And in my mind, I thought to myself, no, that's not going to happen. I don't understand how, something like this, I've spent my whole life doing it, and I will be happy when I can make that transition to an empty nest. But you know what? In the end, she was right and I was wrong. And I just want to talk about that a little bit today, because it's such a challenging time for a lot of people, both men and women, moms and dads, deal with their own transition time, their own transition time as they go through this. But I can only speak from my position, and that's as a mother, and so that's where I'll be coming from. Also, I just wanted to say that I have notes that I'm glancing down at so that I can keep myself on track as I talk about this. After having been a blogger for 15 years, I'm more of a writer than a talker, so this is a new venue for me, so I have to keep myself on track by jotting down little notes, so that's what I've done. Anyway, back to online information. This is such a challenging time for moms and dads that they even have what they call emptiness syndrome. I had no idea about that until I looked online. But apparently it's recognized as a syndrome, and there are things that you go through as you're dealing with this. Or, excuse me, there are things that you deal with as you go through this stage in your life. So some of their symptoms that they list are depression, loss of purpose, concerns and worries about how your children are handling life on their own, and different decisions that they may be making, grief and loneliness. And I dealt with some of these symptoms for sure. And I know everybody is different, so some people may deal with things more than I did, or less than I did, but again, like I said, it's from my own perspective. So, I'd be interested to know too what your experience has been if you've walked through this. For me, the biggest issue that I struggled with was loss of purpose, and trying to find my own purpose. I also dealt with the grief of having that time of my life over. I think some of the things that I reflected back on were lost opportunities, missed opportunities. Now that it's finally over, you ask yourself, could I have done something different? Could I have made better choices as a parent? And so these kind of things go over and over in your mind as you're going through the process of realizing that, it's over. The other thing that can bother some people or make some people happy is a quiet house. When my 8 kids were at home, my house was never quiet. And even as my kids were growing up, there were always friends in and out of the house. As my kids became teenagers and started getting jobs, they were in and out all the time. I had one son that worked during the night, a delivery job, and he'd be in at 1 a.m. Somebody else is leaving for work at 6 a.m. and it just seemed like my house was always busy. And then as they started to leave home, the house started getting quieter and quieter. For me, I had other family members that were coming over and staying with us for extended periods of time. So I still ended up feeling like I had a very busy, noisy house. And all of a sudden, my son leaves, and it's just my husband and I, and he may be at work or whatever, and all of a sudden my house is so quiet. And that could be bothersome for some, but for me, quite honestly, the quiet house was very enjoyable. It's like the first time I was actually able to think without having to go to my room or, step out of the house or go someplace else just to have some quiet moments. I suddenly was able to think. And I actually enjoyed that. My husband, on the other hand, he enjoys the quiet, but he misses the energy that young people have and the energy that's around you of kids and young people doing things. He actually misses that. So as you're preparing, to be an empty nester, or as you're seeing it coming in the future, are there things that you can do to prepare for this? I'm not sure. Obviously, thinking about it and realizing that this time is coming is important. I ended up, as I was seeing that period of my life coming, I ended up feeling really excited. I was like, oh, the responsibility, the dishes, the housework, the constant laundry being done, picking up after my kids, and that type of thing. I was like, oh, I'm going to be so excited when this is finally, I'm finally on the other side of this. But what happened to me instead was that when the last one left the nest, I suddenly had this huge realization. It's all over. It's done. And rather than celebrating like I thought I might, I started grieving the end of a very large portion of my life. I became a mother at 18, and my last child left the house 2 years ago. So I had, 36, 37 years of being a mother and having children and having that responsibility. And I realized, oh my gosh, this huge portion of my life just came to an end. I know from my own perspective that I got a lot, if not mostly all, of my identity from being a mom. Because I was a mother for so long and I homeschooled all 8 of my children, that was who I was. That's how I identified myself. As somebody might say that I meet, what do you do? Oh, I'm a full-time homeschooling mother, stay-at-home mom. And that was who I was. And once the schooling ended and I saw that part close, I started to find that question coming into my mind. What is my purpose? What am I doing? Where do I go from here? And who am I now? And that even became more of a question when my last son, my youngest, my last child, when he left the house. So that brings you to the point of, well, how do you cope with this? And how do you deal with this? And I think the biggest lesson that I have been learning, not just in the last 2 years, but certainly since I stopped homeschooling, is that it's a season of life. And being a full-time mother and a homeschooling mom was a season of my life. And it was a season of my life that I absolutely loved. I mean, it was wonderful. But it was a season. And all seasons do come to an end and the new season begins. And like I said, for having done it 36 or 37 years, something like that, I It was a very long season in my life. And so you realize that it's going to take more than just overnight coming up, oh, well, here's my new purpose and I'm ready to get going now. It's going to take some time, and I think you need to be prepared for that fact, that it does take time to recognize your new purpose in life, or to define your new purpose. I think that's important, is that whole process of moving from one season to another season, I actually like to look at as a journey. God held my hand, walked me through each and every day of my life as a mother. From the moment that I brought that baby home, that first baby home from the hospital, I really didn't have an idea at all at that point what my journey was going to look like, what my future was going to look like. I was just on a one day at a time journey that I had to rely on the Lord for my whole entire life. And now there is nothing to say that God isn't still walking me through a journey. It's a new journey now. This season of life, this new journey, has a lot of potential to be fun, exciting, filled with new opportunities, if we want to look at it that way. If we dwell in the sadness of it, if we longingly are looking back at it, rather than looking forward, we may miss the opportunities that God has for us as we begin this new journey. So I find it vitally important to look forward and to be excited to see what God has in store. My children are still a big part of my life, and my desire is still to interact with them, participate in their lives, and be a blessing to them in any way that I can. But I also need to look forward to see what God has in store for me. As you look back over the years, do you remember thinking, oh, I can't wait to do this, or I can't wait to do that when my children are gone? Well, I have had my own list of things from all the years. And when I go online, people will have great lists of things, volunteer your time. Now you can teach a Sunday school class, you can work in the nursery, you can help your neighbors more, you can write letters, make phone calls, do the things that in your busy life with children you never had time to do. I think those are all great ideas, and I have no problem with that. However, I was looking for something beyond occupying my time. When my children left home, that left a huge void in my life, and I struggled for a while before they actually were all gone, and after the last one left, I would ask myself, okay, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? When I tell people my struggles of finding purpose, they always ask me, now that I'm a couple years into my journey, so what have you found? What is your purpose now? Because they are either there or they're looking at arriving there soon. And I kind of have to laugh at that because I don't really know. I think the biggest lesson I'm learning right now is to be content with that, and to be at peace with that, and to know that I am on a journey that the Lord is showing me one day at a time, and it's kind of opening, unfolding. He's revealing things to me. I'm learning lessons. I'm seeing things from different perspectives. And all of those are part of my emptiness journey. It's a daily walk with Him. Right now, the things that I'm learning is what kind of things, I'm learning more about me. Raising children, it's all about the children, and it's all about them, and that's exactly how it should be. But that's a lot of years that I didn't really spend thinking about who am I, what kind of things inspire me, what kind of things excite me, what makes me tick, what is that passion in my life. And that's part of the journey. That's where I think the exciting part of the journey comes. I get to learn new things about myself all the time, and I'm really loving that part. Also am enjoying finding the things that bring me joy. You know, we live in a society today where there's a lot of negativity around in our world, even with people, whether it's, you know, issues in families, issues with people outside the family. There's a lot of negativity, and I think that it's really a healthy thing to not focus on that, but to focus on the things that bring us joy. And as I discover these things, what I'm learning is that I need to pursue those paths. When I find things that bring me joy, that inspire me, that excite me, I need to pursue that path and see where it leads. Because maybe God has something really exciting to show me as I take that path, as I walk that journey. I think this time in our life is meant to be a blessing to us. It's meant to be a fun and exciting time. It's not meant to be a time of tears and crying and grieving the loss of what we had. It's time to look forward and be inspired by what this new season of our life, this new journey, is supposed to look like for us. This time in our life, it may be a little bit strange. It may feel strange. It may look strange because it isn't what it was. It's something new now. But I think if we give it time and we focus on exploring all those different paths that God is giving us, God is showing, it can really be a wonderful time in our life. I would absolutely love to hear about your empty nest journey. If you're already an empty nester, if you're already an empty nester, tell me a little bit about that. What kind of things did you experience? Or what kind of emotions did you go through? Where are you now, and how are you dealing with it now? If you're not an empty nester yet, but you see it coming, you see this journey is not far off, what are your feelings? What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? What kind of things are going through your mind right now? I would love to hear about those. In the comment box below, you can find my email, and you can contact me by email if you would like. I also have a Facebook page for Homemaking on the Homestead, and you can message me there, or you can just simply put your comments below, because I really would enjoy hearing from other women and maybe having more discussions on this empty nest journey that so many of us are on right now. I've enjoyed today's Coffee with Crystal, and I know that for future videos I would like to bring this up again. The whole empty nest topic has so many different things to discuss with it. If you found that this was inspiring or helpful to you today, please give me a like. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.